What is up everyone, my name's Al from GamesRib, and today we're taking a look at this Switchblade port onto the Sega Dreamcast, and we're talking Atari ST CD, which essentially you're going to say, well, I've never heard of that, it doesn't sound like a system I've ever heard of. You've probably heard of Atari ST, etc. So this essentially is a fantasy console made up by Ian Micheal, so basically bringing the best from the ST and CD audio into one awesome package. That's right, if you've seen Switchblade on other systems, you haven't seen it quite like this. Let's take a look. So yes, this really is the bringing the best from the Atari ST and compact disc audio all in one awesome package. And to be fair, one incredible game. Most people talk about Switchblade quite often. You know, it could be the Amiga, it could be any system. They absolutely love it. Anyway, to start off the game, you have to bring up the on-screen keyboard by pressing the left click, then bring it down to the spacebar, hit A, and you're good to go. Now, what you also do get a nice little option of at the beginning is you get to see at the bottom it says FX, and then you'll see kind of a little note. You basically get to choose between sound effects and audio, but obviously this version will bring them all together, which wasn't a thing on Atari ST, so in itself being pretty damn awesome already. Now let's quickly go through the controls, because you might be a bit confused straight off the bat if you've not played it. Either way, let's run through it. Obviously, if you hold A, you kind of do this kind of ground kick. Then if you do a kind of lighter attack or hold on the button, it will then punch. So there's different variations of power, which is great, because in older games, they never really had varied attacks. They certainly have them here. Now, the other great thing is this is also now a 2-button game. Wasn't before on the Atari ST. So you can also jump using X, or you can just use kind of up and directional at the same time to kind of jump left, jump right, or just straight up for standard jump. Make sure not to hit start, because start will literally restart the entire game, and you'll be straight off from the start again, so don't hit that button. Anyway, as you can see, right now we've just got the sound effects audio, which is great. Now, see, I actually kind of prefer this way. I actually think the music's possibly a bit too overbearing. Now, obviously, bearing in mind, this isn't the completed / finalised version. There was meant to be changes due to happen with this. I think this is a bit of an older project now. It's about a year or so old. And I'm sure when Ian has time, he might come back to this. But this is the status in it at the moment. But when you do hear the music in a minute, some people may say it's a bit overbearing. It's up to your preference, it really is. And you can turn it on and off by literally pressing both shoulder buttons at the same time. And as you can hear, just like clockwork, there's the music. Now, I'm not going to lie, this game is a difficult one. This will really kick your ass. It really, really will. Now, obviously, what I would say, at the end of the day, don't give up. This is kind of rinse and repeat. This game is really known for its really rock-hard difficulty, and it pretty damn well shows, because you do start off with 5 lives, and they do diminish pretty quickly. The good thing is, though, you will come across other weapons, which is great, kind of like power-up firing type weaponry. So they are there, they are dotted around the level, or levels I should say, but it certainly isn't hard. For me though, the greatest thing about this port is just how fluid this looks. I mean, visually, it looks great anyway because it's the Atari ST version, but for me, it's the fact it's running so quickly. There's no glitches, there's no sound glitches, especially with the sound effects. And to be fair with the CDDA audio, it's all working gloriously and all just doing it at the same time without any glitches. Now you are going to face areas like this where it feels like, well, how on earth am I going to hit that? Well, that again is when you find your firing weapons. That's what you use to kind of progress. So don't feel kind of defeated straight off the bat. This game is challenging. But yes, just remember that. It's kind of a puzzler, and a kind of platform puzzler at the end of the day. So, you know, bear in mind, it is difficult, but try, rinse, repeat, and you really get used to it. Another thing to take note of is these letters. They are dotted around the entire game. That's right, collect them and you will get an extra or a bonus. That's right, they are littered around for that reason, so do make sure to get them, because if you don't, they will disappear. The other thing we've got to talk about is there's actually a nice assortment of enemies here. It's not just a standard one type. There's kind of little rat looking things. There's the things we just took out which kind of look like big shrimps. And then you've got a kind of knight looking character. So yes, I got to say the colour palette is pretty dull, but then you've got to remember this game is kind of meant to be kind of Fallout-y kind of post-apocalyptic, so it's gonna be very dull, right? But that doesn't take away the challenging nature of this game and just kind of how awesome this really is. Yes, a lot of people do talk about it. I don't feel enough. Another thing to notice is obviously the platform element, in the fact that you're going to say, well, how the hell do I get up here? Well, yes, there's the foreground and the background elements to take into kind of consideration as well. So great, another dimension of platforming. If it's me, I really would say this is the best way to play this game. It is on the Dreamcast. It's the fact you have that CDDA audio, it works perfectly with the Sega Dreamcast controller, it just feels right on the system. And that's what we're seeing with a lot of these games as they're kind of being ported through various people, be it Ian Micheal, etc. These games feel like they're home on this system. Unfortunately, the system had such a short lifespan, but unfortunately we never really got to see them officially released, but that doesn't mean they can't still come true now. So if there is a game you want to see ported, maybe drop a comment. At the end of the day, the devs do check out some of these videos, so they might be interested to see what you think. As always, like, comment, and subscribe. It's Al signing out.